Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq issues a royal decree. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq greets the presidents of Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan and the Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Signed by His Majesty the Sultan, His Excellency the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion takes part in the Future Investment Initiative in Saudi Arabia. And the 7th National Cybersecurity Drill focuses on the efficiency of dealing with the cybersecurity attacks. Those are the headlines, and now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq issues Royal Decree No. 62 over 2021. Article 1 ratifies the Sultanate of Oman joining the Maritime Work Agreement for the year 2006, according to the attached format. Article 2, the bodies concerned shall deposit the joining document to the agreement mentioned according to its provisions. Article 3, this decree shall be published in the Official Gazette and come into effect from the date of its issue. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Shavkat Mirziyoyev of Uzbekistan on him being re-elected as a president of the country. His Majesty the Sultan sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov of Turkmenistan on his country's National Day. And His Majesty sent a cable of greetings to Her Excellency Dame Susan Dugan, Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines of her country's National Day. Assigned by His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, His Excellency Qais Mohammed Al Yusuf, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion, takes part in the Future Investment Initiative, which begins today in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh. The 5th session of the initiative is held under the slogan Invest in Humanity, and the initiative deals with 5 areas, namely artificial intelligence, robotics, education, healthcare, and sustainability. The Future Investment Initiative Foundation announced 16 partnership contracts with a selection of the largest companies and institutions in the world. The initiative brings together state and corporate leaders, policymakers, investors, and innovators from all over the world in a global forum to explore pioneering solutions that address society's challenges and work to achieve those solutions. The Shura Council's office reviewed during its meeting today a number of responses on the issues of postponing loan installments for citizens affected by the corona pandemic, the quality of fuel, the layoff of the national workforce in the private sector, and expatriate workers leaving their jobs. The meeting also discussed a request for a briefing on quarries, crushers, and companies operating in the mining sector, and a request for discussion on incidents of students being forgotten in school buses and the procedures following to determine the needs of the teaching staff. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal Al Mawali, Chairman of the Shura Council. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al Saidi, Minister of Health, received Lord Astor of Hever, envoy of the British Prime Minister, and his accompanying delegation. During the meeting, they discussed enhancing the bilateral relations between the Sultanate of Oman and the United Kingdom in health fields. These two sides also reviewed aspects of joint cooperation regarding the international hospitals group and combating the COVID-19 pandemic. To increase the efficiency of dealing with cybersecurity attacks, the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology, along with the Electronic Defence Centre, conducts the 7th National Cybersecurity Drill virtually. More in the following report.
The Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology, represented by Oman National CERT, in cooperation with the Electronic Defence Centre and with the participation of a number of government institutions, organizes the 7th National Cybersecurity Drill virtually for 2 days. This drill aims to enhance cyber readiness to deal with various electronic incidents that government institutions might be exposed to and defending organizations against persistent threats.
Today we are participating on the 7th installment of the National Drill, which aims at mimicking what the latest cybersecurity threats and trends that are happening in the global today. The aim is to keep the participant here in the Sultanate at the latest what's happening in the cybersecurity picture, and making sure that their readiness is up to date, and also they are able and capable of dealing with the cybersecurity threats that's happening.
The drill also aims to enhance coordination between the National Center for Information Safety and various governmental and private institutions, in addition to law enforcement institutions, with regard to addressing security incidents and ways to deal with them. The drill also aims to educate all parties and institutions about the mechanisms and procedures followed in this regard, in addition to focusing on qualifying national cadres in the field of emergency management and dealing with information security risks.
Joining us in the studio is Dr. Haitham bin Halal Al-Hajri, Executive Cyber Security at Oman National CERT, Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology. Welcome to our news center.
Thank you very much for the invite.
Can you tell us how this drill is conducted specifically?
Well, this drill is basically a group of scenarios that has been specially crafted to mimic the latest trends on cybersecurity threats. So the players, the participants from different government entities, they are participating with us, and they have been put in this special, let's say, zone or a special software where it mimics a cyber threat. Now we are testing them, their capability and the readiness, the maturity of that individual who's participating with us, to see what the level of reaction he can get out of this. So that scenario mimics the latest trend in cybersecurity. So we could really tell that he can respond to this threat in a proper way or not proper way. Now we are measuring not only maturity, but the readiness. Alongside, we could really tell if they have a problem or a specific weakness in responding to certain kind of cyber threats, let's say. And today joined us almost 21 institutions, and there is almost each institution about 4 players. And today is the first day, and tomorrow there is another scenario and another way to test their skills.
Could you give us an example of the type of security attacks that an institution could have?
Yes. Well, due to the COVID outbreak, a lot of institutions has gone online. Now you could see a lot of organizations around the world, they are now suffering from a dilemma whether they should really focus their giving a service online, or they are accommodating their staff online. So a heavy infrastructure usage has been done. Therefore, a couple of the organizations who are ready, they didn't have this issue, but the smaller organization where they didn't have a critical infrastructure, they didn't have it very strong, they have suffered a little bit. Therefore, the new cyber threats or the advancing cyber threats were ranging between malware and ranging between social engineering. Now, social engineering is a technique used by cyber criminals to gain access to the network and then trying to trick the individuals to give up username and password. And now we see this kind of threat actually attacking society at large.
And what would be a solution like? What's the mechanism for dealing with that?
Well, there are a number of mechanisms that can be conducted. Well, first of all, we can say the best practices that can be adopted by the organization, increasing their security hardware and software, as well making sure that their hardware is up to date. Now, majority of the systems usually pass a month or 2 without being updated to the latest firmware. Now, the reason behind these updates are fixing a specific bug in the system or a weakness. Therefore, laying behind, allowing attackers to actually gain access, utilizing those loopholes. Therefore, also part of the drill is to ensure that their systems are up to date.
Well, thank you so much. It's been lovely having you in the studio. Thank you so much. That was Dr. Haitham bin Halal Al-Hajri, the Executive Cybersecurity at Oman National CERT. In an effort to enhance the capabilities of national cadres and support small and medium enterprises in the field of developing applications and modern technologies in the field of communications, the Telecommunications Regulatory Authority held the first workshop on activating the Cisco Software Developer Platform to introduce the platform and the mechanisms for its activation. The workshops will introduce project frameworks based on artificial intelligence technologies, the Internet of Things, networks, and 5th generation and smart audiovisual communication systems. The platform will enable application developers to work professionally, develop programs that meet the requirements of the labour market, and prepare for various technical jobs. Major General Matar bin Salam al-Baluchi, commander of the Royal Army of Oman, visited the site of the Omani-British joint military exercise Kanja Oman, which is implemented by the Royal Army of Oman, represented by the Oman Reconnaissance Battalion and the 11th Infantry Brigade, with the participation of units from the 4th Infantry Brigade of the British Army. The commander of the Royal Army of Oman at the headquarters of the Oman Reconnaissance Battalion was briefed on the progress of the joint exercise activities and its various stages according to the plans drawn for the exercise in order to achieve the training objectives of its activities. He also watched a presentation of some military equipment and practical demonstrations of some of the procedures that will be implemented during the exercise. It comes within the framework of implementing the joint military training plans between the Sultanate of Oman and the United Kingdom. The Fourth World Entrepreneurship Forum started at Shakira University. A number of experts, entrepreneurs and academics took part in the event to exchange knowledge and expertise in this field. It came within the framework to shed light on the entrepreneurship sector and ways of enhancing it, in addition to proper mechanisms of project management. It also aimed to focus on aspects related to finding economic opportunities for the youth, as well as building an economy based on innovation and creativity. The accompanying exhibition of the forum activities displayed a number of youth innovations and practical ideas that seek to provide various services. Still to come in our news bulletin. The Director General of Education in Al Dakhliya Governorate held a wood sculpture workshop for fine art teachers. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with Taliban representatives during his visit to Qatar yesterday for discussions on the situation in Afghanistan. Wang said Afghanistan was at a critical point of transitioning from chaos to governance. As he met with the Taliban delegation led by Abdul Ghani Baradar, the Deputy Prime Minister of the group's interim government. Wang also said China respects Afghanistan's sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity and supports the Afghan people in determining their own destiny. The talks during Wang's visit are the latest high-level contact between the sides. Wang has met with a delegation led by Baradar in July in the Chinese city of Tianjin, shortly before the group seized power from Afghanistan's elected government. In a rare joint appeal today, the leaders of Pakistan and China urged the international community to swiftly send humanitarian economic aid to Afghanistan, where people are facing food and medicine shortages in the shadow of winter. Southeast Asian leaders began their annual summit without Myanmar today, aimed at diplomatic standoff over the exclusion of the leader of the military-ruled nation from the group's meeting. Myanmar skipped the summit in protest after the Association of Southeast Asian Nations shut out its top general from its meetings. Brunei, who is this year's chair of the 10-member bloc, invited Myanmar's highest-ranking veteran diplomat, Chan A, as a non-political representative, but she didn't attend the meeting. The three-day talks, which are being held by video due to coronavirus concerns, will be joined by other world leaders, including the US President Joe Biden and the leaders of China and Russia. It will be the first time since 2017 that a US president has attended the summit. The meetings are expected to spotlight Myanmar's worsening crisis, as well as other regional security and economic issues. During the meeting today, Haji Hassani Bolkiah, Sultan of Brunei Jerusalem, said he welcomed the inclusion of the UK as the first new dialogue partner in over 2 decades. Italian firefighters have been working for 2 weeks to remove a cable car on Montaron Mountain which crashed to the ground last May, killing 14 people. During the operation, fire crews built a structure with steel pipes to stabilize the wrecked cable car shell. Using a power saw, they cut into cabins into pieces to make its removal easier and faster. Yesterday, the crew separated the roof of the carriage from the suspension and placed the last piece on a steel structure. Using a digital dynamometer, the firefighters checked the weight of the various sections of the cable car to prepare them to be removed by helicopter in the coming days. Only one person survived the crash, a young boy who ended up at the center of a custody battle between his relatives in Israel and Italy. An Israeli court yesterday ordered the 6-year-old, Ethan Byron's, to be returned to his relatives in Italy. Byron's parents and younger siblings were among the 14 killed when the cable car slammed into the mountainside. As winter approaches and fuel prices rise, Syrians in the country's north turn to a cheaper source of energy for heating. In the town of Armanaz in Idlib Governorate, a facility is turning olive pomace into fuel briquettes. During the production of oil, large amounts of pomace, known in Syria as Berin, are left behind. Abdel Rahman Kitan supervises the work at a Berin plant where he and his team turn the substance into solid fuel and sell it. Berin was not known before the war, but it is now used as fuel because diesel is very rare and its price is not affordable to most people. Kitan said a family needs about 1.5 to 2 tons during a season, and that costs up to $230 US, whereas diesel costs a family between $400 to $500 in one season. After 10 years of civil war, economic sanctions and massive displacement, Syria saw a crippling economic meltdown. Most people are unable to afford basic needs, including fuel for heating. The Director General of Education in Al-Dakhliya Governorate held a work sculpture workshop for fine art teachers to enhance their artistic skills in sculpting. More details in the following report.
Within the framework of the Professional Development Program for Fine Arts Teachers, a workshop on 3D sculpture models was held at Nizwa Cultural Center, aimed at enriching the experiences of art education teachers in the field of wood sculpture, to turn the patterns of this form of art into creative wooden pieces.
Through this workshop, we aim to enhance the skills of fine art teachers in sculpture, focusing on the Omani identity.
Around 60 male and female fine arts teachers from various schools in the Dakhliya Governorate participated in this specialized workshop, gaining hands-on training on identifying the types of wood used for sculpting and the special strategies employed in the carving process.
From this workshop, we learn techniques of wood sculpture and the tools used for sculpture. This training will help us to develop students' skills in wood sculpture.
Over a period of 5 days, the teachers will carve innovative monumental pieces that combine authenticity and modernity. These sculptures will be showcased in an exhibition dedicated for this purpose. Wood sculptures express a wide range of subtle and deep meanings beyond their mere presentation, which helps fine art teachers to inculcate critical thinking skills among learners. From Nizwa Cultural Center, صالح بخلفان الرحبي الداخلية Governorate.
This is the Sultanate of Man television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq issues a royal decree. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq greets the presidents of Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan and the Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Assigned by His Majesty the Sultan, His Excellency the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion take part in the Future Investment Initiative in Saudi Arabia. And the 7th National Cybersecurity Drill focuses on the efficiency of dealing with the cybersecurity attacks. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studio, it's good night and stay safe.